Hey, I'm Ryan. I'm back to be your host for another year of March to the Madness. The tournament tips off tomorrow, February 11th, and it's a race to the most donors. Make some noise and tune in for all the excitement. The top 64 chapters are going to advance to the tournament for a chance to compete for the trophy. Will Oklahoma return to win their third straight title, or can Martin McDonough and Youngstown State put a stop to their reign? Will 2020 Cinderella story Indiana State be back for more? Who's going to wear the glass slipper this year? Keep an eye out for donation links in your email and social media. Last year, we raised over $40,000 to support educational leadership opportunities, national scholarships, and support the LaVere Memorial Temple. This year, our goal is to raise $50,000. Let's make this the biggest year yet. If you'd like to sign up and be a team captain, email us at foundation@sae.net. Good luck to everyone and enjoy the action.
Hey, everyone, and welcome to TG Talk. We're your hosts, Cody Delmendo.
And Jeremy Bellman. We're excited to be here today, and thank you for listening in. We have a great episode for you all today.
Yeah, Jeremy, you're exactly right. Today we're discussing the new and updated Phoenix member education with our special guest, Eric Eidson. He's the coordinator of education. We'll talk to him later in the episode. We're going to bring in some current active brothers as well from, I believe, Harvard and Nebraska as an example from the program. And we'll do a little Q&A with them and Eric. Stick around to hear the TG of the month and the trivia question. You might have some info on, Jeremy.
I do. Thank you, Cody. So as Cody said, this term of TG Talk will now feature a trivia question at the end of each episode where you, the audience, will get an opportunity to be entered for our giveaways. So be sure to stick around to hear the trivia question and learn how you can answer it.
Yes. I just want to emphasize giveaway. There is a giveaway, so you got to stick around for the end of the show where we have the trivia question. You'll tell us the answers in our social media, DMs, Instagram, Twitter, wherever, and then we'll pick someone. So with all that said, let's get the show on the road.
Let's do it.
Come sing to Sigma Alpha Epsilon Epsilon Sigma Alpha Epsilon Sigma Alpha.
Okay, one more thing we forgot to mention this term is we'll be highlighting a True Gentleman of the Month or Chapter of the Month. We haven't really completely decided yet, but it's something around that. So obviously for their achievements, for their chapters or campuses. So we're asking people to send us some nominations. You can DM us on Instagram. You can DM us on Twitter, tag us, however you want to do it. You can go follow us at SAE 1856 on Twitter and at Sigma Alpha Epsilon on Instagram. You can find us on Facebook as well. Jeremy, anything else you want to add to that, or did I explain that well?
No, you nailed it right on the head, Cody, as always.
I appreciate that. Thank you. I always want to make sure I got everything in line.
Fantastic. All right. And now for someone who I'm more than proud to call a fellow coworker and individual whom I can often geek out with regarding anything theater related, Marvel, DC Comics. Please help me give a warm welcome to Eric Eidson. Welcome, Eric.
Oh, thank you, Jeremy. Appreciate that.
Obviously. So, as you know, we know each other fairly well because we, work together, but I don't think our audience really knows who you really are. So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? Where you're from, where were you prior to SAE, favorite hobbies, favorite foods? Like, I want to know it all, please.
Wow. Yes. Here's my full resume for you. No, so I'm originally from Colorado and living in Chicago now, of course, but my title is I'm the coordinator of educational programs at SAE. So we help do a lot of the member education program. We do a lot of the events, kind of oversee awards, things along those lines in the education department. But on top of that, favorite food, tacos. I don't, does that answer the question? You
From where? From where?
I mean, listen, I'm not picky on tacos. So I've got a lot of places, different kinds of tacos. What are you feeling?
I'm from California. So tacos to me are very sacred. Like, that's what we're known for. Like, every state has its food. California definitely known for its tacos.
Well, my favorites are definitely the like original street tacos. First time I had a street taco in Mexico, I was like, this is it right here.
The taco
So,
trucks, right? Because
there you go. Exactly.
I went to Cancun last year, and I'm telling you, the guacamole there is just insanely better than
Oh,
any
yeah.
place I've ever
It
had
does.
in America.
Chipotle doesn't even come close to it. Am I right?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't.
I do like Chipotle,
that
though.
quesadillas, like any kind of Mexican food. Obviously, I mean, I was in Cancun, so obviously like, they better show up for that, right? But yeah, no tacos. I love tacos too. Chicken
Uh-huh.
tacos, if you want to get technical.
Yes. And then for my sake, Eric, since you never answered this for me, what is your favorite Marvel or DC movie?
Oh man, my favorite one. Listen, I'm more of a DC person, but my favorite superhero is the Flash. So I'm just waiting for that Flash movie to come out, But
Oh yeah.
if I can cheat, I'm just gonna say the entire Justice League animated series. That's what I'm really a fan of. So
Okay.
Do you like the show on CW?
I do like the show, but I'm still more of a animated series kind of person. So the show is good though. I do like the show.
Yeah, they're kind of a hit or miss. I feel like Smallville was great. When I was younger, Smallville was the show, and
There you
then
go.
yeah, then they started adding a ton. Like Arrow was okay. Add a few more. The Flash is my favorite one of the recent ones
Yeah,
for sure.
it is.
So,
It is. They have some really good parts.
yeah.
All right, wow, I'm learning all this new stuff about you, Eric. Like we know each other for what, like 2 or 3 months now, and I didn't know about all this stuff about you. So I'm gonna keep all that in mind now.
There you go. Tacos and the Flash. There it is.
There you go.
Well, thanks so much for sharing, Eric. So are you ready to dive into some Phoenix member ed?
Of course, let's do it.
Awesome. Well, Cody, I've talked a lot, so I'm gonna let you take the reins for now. So why don't you start us off?
Okay, so obviously, like we've said, we're here to talk about the Phoenix education program, which initially launched last fall, correct?
Yeah, so yeah, we launched it officially last fall for the Realm, but then we did pilot it starting as early as last spring, so like last January. So yeah, it's been around kind of in early stages, but yeah, last fall was the official release date.
Can you give us like a rundown of the new program and how it differs from like the previous TGE?
Yeah, absolutely. So like, yeah, the True Gentleman experience was kind of what this is now replacing. And so for this one, the Phoenix Member Ed program is meant to be for every member of the chapter. So it's not just, new members or, more veteran members, but it is for everyone now. Because the idea is that you don't just stop learning once you're a new member. The idea is how do we engage members all the way through all 4 years, maybe 5 years, however long. But the idea is that they continue to enhance their education with the fraternity and of course continue to develop themselves as fraternity men in SAE. So
Yeah.
that's the big thing I would say. Yeah.
The big thing. So like you kind of mentioned the accolade program, like brother to brother lessons and the new member onboarding. Do you mind explaining it a little further at all?
Absolutely. Yeah. So there are three main components in the Phoenix Member Ed program. The first is we've got programming for chapters within the member onboarding. So within that bid to initiation phase, that 96 hours, we've got programming that chapters can essentially implement. And the idea is to like really set up the member educator and the other officers for success when it comes time to actually leading some of these lessons, leading some of these conversations. I mean, we also go into, hey, these are the actual onboarding modules. So just setting up each chapter for success when it comes to all of these onboarding materials. And then, of course, as we know, onboarding is only those 3-4 days. So then after that, the big kind of part of the actual member education program is going to be those lessons. And so last semester, for example, we had, these are the brother to brother lessons. So last semester, we had about 11 lessons that every chapter was meant to implement. Now we've got like over 30, and it's kind of more of a pick and choose. So each chapter kind of gets to customize what their education program is going to look like for their specific chapter based on the needs of kind of, their chapter, the guys in their chapter, things along those lines. So that part's been really exciting. And then of course, the third, like you were talking about, Cody, is the accolades program. And the accolades, these are essentially digital badges that exist within my SAE. And these badges are awarded for any different kind of accomplishment. So it can be anything from, completing one of the lessons or, the 7 expectations of a member, reciting the True Gentleman. So those are different badges that are in there. members can then get awarded those and then of course be entered into drawings to win different prizes. So that is kind of an incentive to, hopefully encourage the guys who are already doing great things to keep going, and maybe guys who haven't been as involved, a way to kind of incentivize them to get more involved. So
yeah,
that's the big overview.
you give me a reason. You give me a reason for prizes, man. That you got me. I'm ready.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Now, if I could jump in here, sorry, Cody.
No, you're good. Go ahead.
So when I was an undergrad, I got initiated in 2016. Some of the biggest things that, the old member or education model talked about is like, oh, I have to memorize like all these like dates and founders, names, buildings. And I always thought like, oh, like that's so important. But now this new education model, like, yes, that's still relevant, but now we go beyond that, right, Eric?
Absolutely. And here's the thing, like one of the things that we're trying to do is that if a chapter already has like a really awesome, member education program, then hopefully this is going to help them kind of subsidize maybe areas that they're developing, things along those lines. But of course, new members are going to want to learn some of those things, right? Learn the history of the organization that they're joining, of course. But we do within our lessons kind of go over all that. It just may not be all at once, but it's kind of like intertwined, rather than saying, hey, this is the history lesson. It's like, hey, we're going to learn about John O. Mosley and how he kind of developed the leadership school, and then how that has led to some of the different events that we offer today. So things along those lines. Yeah.
And then going along that same subject, how does this new program kind of allude to SEE's mission and values of, brotherhood, leadership, scholarship, and friendship?
Great. Yeah, great question. So within the brother to brother lessons, there's actually now 6 different categories. Very similar to kind of what you just talked about. One of them is, ritual in the fraternity. One of them has to do with like leadership, one's community service, things like this. And so all of these are actually goals that the Supreme Council kind of came up with that are aligned with, of course, SAE's mission, values, vision. And so because of that, that's how these lessons were built within those different categories to support those, ideals, those goals. And then, of course, those will then be, go into every chapter in whatever they decide that they want to incorporate into their specific lessons. So yeah, great question.
Well, it sounds like we had a lot of great questions.
You do.
Is there? Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Cody.
No, go ahead, Jeremy. Go ahead.
Oh, you're such a TG. I appreciate it.
I know. I'm more of a giving guy.
So tell me, Eric, what do you think would be some of the short-term versus long-term benefits to this new model for chapters all across the realm?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, short term, obviously, our main goal is to set up any chapter with success who maybe is like they might have questions in their member education program or, still developing. And again, so we just wanted to at least set the base. We, at the very minimum, chapters could 100% implement the things that we lay out for them. But we also encourage that they kind of add their own things to it, build to it. And so that is one of the things that we really wanted to help, is that not only do the chapters kind of have these resources for success, but then long term, like you were saying, we know that we're going to be enhancing the experience for every member of SAE. So, years down the road, we're going to know that every SAE has gone through this program, and then we know that they've gotten some of those, mission, vision, values that you were talking about earlier, and that all of them are graduating kind of with these ideals. So I would say that's a long-term goal for sure.
I love it. Thank you so much, Cody. You wanted to ask something?
No, I already forgot my question. I think you already actually answered it. So man, I appreciate you, Eric, for jumping on here and breaking down the new Phoenix member education and enlightening us with some awesome new features. So it's really exciting stuff. I hope all the undergrads listening right now are really taking it not only serious, but grasping it pretty well.
Yeah, it's definitely a new era of education that I kind of wish this was around when I was an undergrad, because this is awesome, especially the accolades program. Like, yeah, I want some badges and shirts and scholarships. Like, all that sounds awesome,
Anytime you can get some free shirts, especially some SAE swag. When I was in college, it was so hard to get anything for free, at least. You know what I mean? Like, this is great.
Oh my gosh, I would collect shirts while I was an undergrad, and I would just like hang them up. I would iron them. I would fold them nicely because those were my prized possessions back then. Still are, all by the way.
Yeah. No, I'm not gonna lie, I gave away some to like some guys who stayed in school after me, but I kept all the ones that I really love. So yeah. No, it's a great incentive. So I
Yeah.
said, I hope it all works out.
Yeah, no, Eric, thanks again for breaking it down for us, and I really hope that this will benefit members all across the country. And anytime they need some further explanation or breakdown, they can obviously reach out to you, right?
Yeah, no, and thanks for asking, because we definitely, because it's a new program, we want, everyone to know, whether you're a member educator, an officer, a member, an advisor, to be able to reach out to us in the education department and just be like, hey, would you mind setting up a one-on-one time where we can go over this? I will let you guys know, we do have a training and we have a recording that we can send out to chapters that they're going to be able to access. But if they do want to chat with us, meet one-on-one, we are more than happy to set up a Zoom call, a phone call, email back and forth, whatever's going to work for them. We definitely want to set everybody up for success.
Fantastic.
What's an email that someone could reach out to you at?
Yeah, great. So our email is education@sae.net. So nice
really
and simple.
Easy.
Right, yeah, exactly. And that goes to the whole education department. So whichever one of us sees it first, we'll respond first. So there you go.
There you go. Sounds simple. There you go.
I love it. All right. Well, like I said, thanks again for highlighting all this, and it's definitely going to help our brothers all across the realm. And speaking of active brothers, we have a couple joining us today. So hailing all the way from the Nebraska Lambda-Pi chapter at the University of Nebraska, please give a warm welcome to Nolen Rinn, current member educator of his chapter. Welcome, Nolen.
Hey guys, thanks for having me on.
Yeah, absolutely. And joining him is Garrett Rolph from the Massachusetts Gamma chapter at Harvard University. Mr. Fancy over here.
He just slides into the Zoom like all prepped up and everything.
Garrett is actually one of our current national ambassadors. Shout out to all my ambassadors I worked with, who are a huge help throughout the entire year to the office staff. So Garrett, welcome as well.
What's good? Thanks for having me on, y'all.
We're happy to have you, man.
Yeah, so thanks again for joining us today, gentlemen. Before we dive into, the business side of the episode, I really want to try a quick icebreaker, kind of as a warm-up for you guys. So you guys ready to play?
Sure.
Let's do it.
They look as ready as ever.
So this game is something that I, did in the past when I was assistant director in high school and as an undergrad. So you may have heard of it before, but it's called word association. Basically, it's going to be a 10 word round that I'll say really quickly. I'll say a word, and you just say the first thing that pops into your head that you associate with it. So everyone clear on the rules?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nolen, I'm gonna pick on you first, and you're gonna go first. All right.
All right.
All right. Let's do this. All right. Fruit.
Apple.
Movie.
Star Wars.
Country.
Music.
Season.
Fall.
Food.
Pizza.
School.
Miller North.
Art.
Painting.
House.
SAE.
Song.
Kodak Black for some reason.
And Brotherhood.
SAE again.
Fantastic. All right, Garrett, you're next. Ready?
Do it.
TV.
Show.
Restaurant.
Oh,
Spit
boy.
it out. Come on, let's go.
Someplace I haven't been to in a long time.
Go.
I think that's his answer.
That's it. It's something I haven't been in a long time.
Okay. Animal.
Giraffe.
Game.
Show.
Book.
Seafloor.
Space.
Force.
All right. Color.
Black.
Celebrity.
J-Lo.
Weather.
Sunny.
And fraternity.
SAE, it's got to be.
There you
There
go.
you go.
2 for 2. Thanks for playing. Cody, I'm going to need a break from talking. So you mind taking the lead on the next segment?
Yeah, I do gotta say that I loved all your answers.
So did
Kodak
I.
Black is like trending on Twitter today, so I
Thank
understand
you.
why you said it. No one.
And so is
Yeah,
J-Lo.
Yeah, and J Lo.
Yeah.
Yeah. As we're recording, the inauguration was today, which is why why we're bringing this up. Anyway,
Mhm.
on to important things. So we discussed what the Phoenix Member Education Program is and what it can offer. Now you can hear it in action with our 2 active members. 2 of you have tested out the Phoenix Member Education Program, correct?
Yes. We
Yeah.
have at the Lambda-Pi chapter actually. Last semester, we were one of the pilot chapters, so very excited to be a part of that.
Nice. Same for you, Garrett.
Yeah, so we were not one of the pilot chapters, but we implemented it this fall. Yeah.
Okay, nice. Awesome. So what we have is a sample brother lesson that you 2 can help us demonstrate on the show. You guys ready?
Sure am.
All right.
do it.
So to our audience, this is an example of the brother lessons. What are included in the new Phoenix Education Program? Nolen, we'll start with you. Tell us how you believe you can use the true gentleman as a guide to become a better friend and brother.
All right. Well, I mean, the true gentleman is our creed. It's one of the first big things you learn as a member of SAE. I mean, it's something you can live by. You can pick any line throughout the true gentleman and apply it in some way to your life. And I think for every activity and module we do with the Phoenix manual, we can apply some line through the TG. And I think that can really be like the backbone of the Phoenix manual. So
That's good.
my answer.
Garrett, you gonna take a roll at it?
Yeah, sorry. You want to restate the question one more time?
So how do you believe you can use the true gentleman as a guide to help become a better friend and brother?
Awesome. Yeah, I just want to make sure I was answering it the right way. Yeah, no, I think I agree with Nolan for the most part. That's something that we did in our chapter this past semester too, is kind of just did go through line by line and broke it down, kind of asked everybody, what does this line mean to you? Something we've done for a long time with our new members, like our member education program. But I think the Phoenix member education program kind of just helped us give a little bit more focus to it. But no, it was a really good discussion. Just got to sit down line by line and really dig into it in a way that I don't think many of us ever had before. So,
no, that's awesome. That's great to hear. How do you guys feel about that example? Do you enjoy having conversations like this with your chapters? Would you say it's a good idea for other chapters that are listening right now? Is that a good idea, do you think? How would you encourage them, I guess?
What example are we?
The one about the true gentleman and how you believe it's a
Okay.
guide to become a better friend and brother.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I'm actually going to throw this question to Garrett and let him go first.
yeah, for sure. No, I would definitely encourage other chapters to go ahead and have these conversations. Personally, it's something that I've really enjoyed having with my chapter. Like I said, it was something that we hadn't really had the chance to dive into as a whole chapter together. And I thought it was really productive. Like I, obviously like all the brothers in my chapter, and I love hanging out with them and talking to them about anything, but kind of coming together to our core values and discussing them as a group, I thought was really productive and beneficial. So, I mean, I would say even if you've had the discussion before, like I've definitely talked about the TG with like the guys I joined with, or like my member educators when I was joining. And it's something that we come back to, right? They are our core values. But even if it's a conversation you have had before, I would say having it with a full chapter is definitely worth doing.
Yeah, so to build on that, I mean, I'm in a chapter full of, we have over 100 active members right now. So we're looking for any way to kind of get guys involved. Talking about the TG is one of the best ways to, I mean, like I said before, you can pick any line from it and kind of use that to propel you through whatever you want to do. And I mean, just like Garrett mentioned, those core values that we kind of preach from the beginning at at SAE, it's always a good reminder, whether it's in chapter every week or just hanging out one-to-one with guys, to be able to talk about that and share your experiences and your goals, and use the TG behind those things.
No, that's great. I love that you guys are really trying to implement the TJ within your chapters and stuff like that. That's really great.
And
Jeremy, go ahead.
speaking, yeah, of course. Speaking of the TG, you both are pretty familiar with it. There's a part in the Brother lessons that I would also like to practice with you guys. So we have here a couple excerpts from the True Gentleman that kind of embody the idea of friendship. So I kind of want to read one of the lines to you and just tell me how you feel it kind of embodies the idea of friendship, which is one of our core values. So Nolen, starting with you. So this line, who speaks with frankness, but always with sincerity and sympathy, how do you feel embodies the idea and value of friendship?
Yeah, so I mean, I'll start by saying that probably like many of my other brothers, through essays where I've made my best friendships and met some of my best friends. And that line in specific, I mean, when you're talking to, I mean, anyone, you gotta speak with a peace of mind for their peace of mind. I mean, you gotta know their goals, and I mean, be able to talk to them, and yeah, I kind of got off track there, but I like the
Yeah, well,
Get the
I think we got the main idea, right, Cody?
Yeah, that's a great answer, man.
All right, and Garrett, on to you. So this line, which is actually one of my personal favorites, who thinks of the rights and feelings of others rather than his own. How do you feel embodies the value of friendship?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, I think that one of the core ideas behind friendship, excuse me, is putting people before yourself, right? Like, there's definitely going to be instances in any friendship, whether an SAE or not, where your friend's going to need something that you might also need, or like, just even if it's just time, and that you go out of your way to give that to your friend. I think that's kind of the way that I would say it embodies, is just making sure that you are always being considerate of the rights and feelings of others, especially to your brothers.
Do you think you can give me an example that you have practiced that line either in your personal life or in a chapter?
Definitely, yeah. So I spent this past year, I'm currently EA now with my chapter, and I spent this past year as EDA. And so, I mean, the time that it comes to mind was in the middle of March. We got kicked off campus, right? We were all just sent home. My EA and I both at the time were kind of going through, some mental health struggles and all that kind of thing, just with being ejected from our normal lives. And the two of us, I mean, we joined together, like, we're really good friends, but it was just really nice for us to kind of be able to come together and support one another and just give each other, like, it wasn't just that I was giving him all my time, right? That I was thinking of his thoughts and feelings, is that he was helping me at the same time. So that was just a really nice time for the two of us to, we had a relationship beforehand, but just kind of solidify that even through tough times. So
Yeah, absolutely. No, especially during this time when, we're all, some of us are, back home or off campus, really can't see a lot of people as much. Definitely a great way to stay connected. It's just that constant communication, checking in on each other. Because I'm a huge advocate for, mental health and all that. So I really appreciate you bringing that up. And Nolen, circling back to you, that line I said, who speaks with frankness but always with sincerity and sympathy, can you think of an instance where you practice that one line in your life?
Yeah, let me think. So I mean, being the member educator, I am the first guy to kind of like meet all the freshmen and get a rub off on them. And you got a lot of different characters you're meeting and gotta kind of mold with. So, I mean, no matter who you're talking to, whether it's my brothers or guys outside of the house, you gotta, I mean, like it says, speak with frankness, but always with sincerity and sympathy. You gotta, I mean, talk to them in consideration of what they're feeling, and also got to be kind of sincere and, frank with it. You gotta, I mean, basically what it says, yeah.
No, that's great. Thank you again for sharing, Nolan. Cody, anything you want to add?
No, I think they really like summed up like what it means, man. Like, and I loved Garrett's example of last year. Obviously last year was tough all around, not only just like having, for his example, like leaving campus, I'm assuming because of pandemic, but also just how everything else with that. So I think it's a good time if you're in a college student, it's a good time to be an SAE because you always got your brother's backs. And yeah, I think that's one of the biggest things for me when I was in school. Always knowing that I had someone that was going to be there if things weren't going right. So
Yeah, and this example that you guys just did, this is exactly what I love. Because when you think about it, it's like what makes a SE brother, a brother. Like it's not just like the history and background that has been established since we were first founded in 1856. It's about the day-to-day practices of what makes you a good person, a true gentleman. So that's those examples that Garrett Nolan that you just shared about, interacting with your brothers, interacting with your social circles, your community. That's exactly what I believe membership is and what the definition of what being a brother in SE is all about. And Cody, I don't know if you, you're nodding your head. Is like
I was
you agree
hoping
with me?
someone else would say something, but no, I guess not.
Hey, I actually will jump in real fast if I may.
Of course.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say to Garrett and Nolan, I mean, like great examples, you guys, of how those discussions can go. And it's like, I'm just thinking a lot of these lessons they're really going to shift and be different based on who's in the room with you, because obviously like, what Garrett was talking about in his chapter, they're going through something very different than what Nolan in his chapter might be going through. So you're going to have different conversations, different guys' perspectives. And so that's kind of the exciting part, is that these lessons really can mold, one, based on who's in the room, but two, based on who's kind of facilitating. So yeah, just one thing. I just wanted to say I appreciate you guys' answers. So thanks for that.
Were we gonna let them ask Eric some questions before we let him go?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So now we're coming up on our Q&A segment of the episode where we kind of open the floor to ask any and all questions with our coordinator of education in the same room. So before I get to you guys, there's actually one that I would like to ask because this is something that I get a lot from the groups that I work with. Shout out to you guys. What are some ways that member educators can engage the current NU members with the brother lessons if some campuses are completely online or virtual?
Yeah, awesome. I mean, and here's the thing, obviously, like we really had to reimagine all of the member education, because when things did go online last March, we were like, whoa, like obviously, as Garrett Garrett and Nolan were mentioning, like the pilot program was kind of going on then, but at the same time, it didn't get released until fall. So we had from then until fall to like really shift some of these lessons so that it could be both done in person and online. So all of our lessons now can be either done virtually or in person. So that is how you'll find them in the manual now. So great question again.
All right, thanks for the answer, Eric. Now, Nolan and Garrett, I'm opening the floor up to you guys. Any and all questions, fire away.
Yeah, so I got one for you, Eric. So now, like you mentioned before, like one of the bigger things of the manual is switching the idea that we are new member educator to now a member educator for the whole house. And I'm in a very big house, in fact, and I am wondering how I can best get the older guys to really buy into what we're trying to do, and what kind of advice you got for member educators out there.
Oh, I love this question, because obviously this is where you're going to get some pushback, right? I mean, guys who are like, I already went through my member education program. Why am I going through it again? I would say really employ some of the older guys to help you with some of these lessons, right? The guys who you think might be most resistant, I would say, hey, can you actually help me facilitate this one? Or, hey, we're going to do this lesson that's going to have some breakouts. I really need your voice in there. I really need your perspective with some of these discussions. Call on them first to answer some of these questions that you guys were answering. I mean, you can really set them up for success and let them know that, yes, they may have already gone through some of these things, but now it's part of the education program is now passing it back on to the next generation, and we want to make sure that their voices are heard. And chances are good they're going to learn something from themselves in the meantime, so that's the big thing that I would say is like call on them to help you guys out and let them know that this is another opportunity for them to give back. And I guarantee you they're going to really gain something in the meantime from that. But I love that question, Nolen, so thank you.
Awesome, thank you. I'll make sure to implement that. And that's a really
Awesome.
good
You
idea.
could also like bribe them with pizza or something.
Yeah, there you go. Tacos, right?
Tacos, there you go. Garrett,
Okay,
you got
Eric,
one?
I gotta say, yeah. So I had 3 questions before we started this. People have stolen them from me all throughout the podcast, but I have one more that I wrote up. So I'm just thinking, like 96-hour initiation window. That's not a lot of time. And new members, I mean, I don't know because I didn't participate in this new member education scheme when I was being initiated. But I'm trying to imagine, like, put myself in the shoes of a new member, and I almost think it could be possible for them to feel kind of like overwhelmed. Like this is a lot of stuff to be jamming into a 96-hour window. Do you have any kind of advice for that? Like if they're overwhelmed, how to deal with that, but also how to kind of make it manageable, especially for students that are like stressed during the semester.
No, and you bring up a really good point. And it's like one of the things that we thought was going to be really helpful then is that if we actually lay out day by day what is going to happen, right? Because you don't want to be, a new member, candidate for membership, and all of a sudden you're like, oh my gosh, wait a second, I got to do all this stuff, 4 hours worth of thing in one day. And so we're really trying to prevent that kind of stuff from happening. So that's why, again, the member onboarding lessons that we have they're kind of recommended in how you implement them. Because of course we've got like 3 days worth of stuff, but there's 4 days that you guys could have. So we really like trust you guys as member educators, as officers in the chapter to be like, okay, let's do this on this day. Because of course, again, every school is going to be different. Every chapter will be different. But yeah, trying to spread that out where you can. But I think the biggest, I guess, resource that we could offer to you guys is that it's like, okay, here's actually a list of all the things that need to get done. So now we know kind of how to tackle these. And then you guys can relay that to the new members. So that way, for me, at least, when I know what to expect, I'm always like, oh, I feel so much better when I'm like, okay, that's done. There's no surprises, right? And that's kind of how it's laid out, is that we remind you to remind them of what's coming, what to expect. So yeah, great question. But that is definitely an important part of that.
All right. Any other questions, guys? Did Eric answer everything?
Yeah, well, now that you guys are done asking Eric questions, I want to ask you both the question. So based on, everything we talked about in this episode, based on all your knowledge that you've received from about the Phoenix Member Ed program, what are some ways that you personally believe you and your chapter will benefit the most from in this new model? So Nolen, I'll start with you.
All right. Honestly, just coming together as a fraternity. We try to do that as much as we can. And I think by not separating the new members and instead including all members when we're learning about these very important things. I mean, rituals, scholarship, leadership. I got a list of them. That's why I'm rattling off. Diversity, health and safety, and service and community. I mean, it's like the entire fraternity. And we're stronger when we're all together rather than separating each other. And I think that's going to be one of the big takeaways is that, we can all come together and do all these things and keep moving forward for the better. And I think this whole program is really going to be better for the house. And the exec team we got at Lincoln, I'm going to give a quick shout out. We're doing some awesome planning with this stuff, and we plan on having a great semester with this manual behind us. So.
Oh man, I just wish I could have written that down and framed it on my wall because that was a fantastic response. I love that.
I felt but that was a little better. Quick.
Garrett, same question. How do you think this new model is going to benefit you and your chapter in the long run?
Yeah, no, definitely. I gotta give props to Nolen. That was a great answer. I really liked, especially the point he said about not separating the members out, like not separating new members from the older guys. I think that's kind of one of the parts that in the past has been not so great, is when we try and divide people and separate them that way. But personally, in my own life, a really big proponent of continuing education. Like I want to go into education as a career. And so that's one of the things that I think are one of the really strong points about this new model is that it is continuing education, right? It's not like, oh, okay, you joined 3 years ago, you're good. Like you still don't need to do, like, I know that I joined like almost 3 years ago now. And I don't know if I can like name all the founders. I don't know if I can name like all these different things that I was required to learn. So yeah, I think part of like what Nolen said, definitely not kind of categorizing members and being able to bring the fraternity together, but also just continuing to learn together, which I think is a really important part of college life. And why can't I be part of SAE too?
Yeah, I love that.
I say now I want that framed right next to Nolen's answer. So I'm gonna get that embroidered, you know.
Frame it.
I want to now.
Yeah.
Those were some great answers, you guys. Thank you so much again
Sure.
for sharing. Any other questions before we move on? No?
Nope, doesn't sound like it, man.
All right, Cody. Well, why don't you take us away?
Are we gonna let them go and then do the trivia question, or
Yes,
we
yeah.
are? Okay.
Mhm.
Well, I want to thank you guys for coming on. This was me and Jeremy's first show doing this. I know we kind of had some bumps in the road, but I think we did okay. I think we got everyone to understand what we're doing here. I think
You
that's
guys were
great.
awesome.
Thank you.
So
I
congrats
appreciate
on your
that.
first show. Well done.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, props y'all.
Thank you. So shout out to Harvard, shout out to Nebraska. Great schools, great
Go
kids.
Big Red,
Love it.
baby.
Yeah.
We'll get it together
Um,
one of these years, I promise.
All right. Well, yeah, I guess I don't want to say I'm gonna kick you, but yeah.
Yeah, no, well, I say as Cody said, thank you guys again. You had some great discussions, some great responses to the questions. We definitely hope to have you back on sometime. So thank you again for being with us today.
Yeah,
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yeah,
Thanks for having us.
of course.
All
right.
Bye, Alpha.
Bye, Alpha.
Bye, Alpha guys.
All right. And now, drum roll, please. The moment you've all been waiting for, the trivia question that I'm sure all of you are anticipating to hear. All right, are you guys ready?
I'm ready.
Fantastic. All right. So, William LeVere, as many of you know, was a key individual that had a very significant impact in the history and cultivation of what SAE is today. I read that at just 14 years old, he left his hometown and moved to Evanston, where he went to Northwestern Academy for high school and then Northwestern University. That's where he got initiated into SAE. Now, here's a question, which is a two-parter. 1, where is William LeVere's hometown? And 2, what year did he get initiated into SAE?
Yeah, so to answer those questions, I know, Nolen and Eric and Garrett might know that right now. Don't say it right now. But to answer, you got to go follow us on Instagram at Sigma Alpha Epsilon. It's really easy. It's just Sigma Alpha Epsilon, and send us a DM with the right answers. I can't promise you that I'm going to choose you if you're listening. I can't promise you I'm going to choose you, but we're going to choose someone who has the right answers. So if we don't choose you, keep tuning in, and maybe you'll get chosen eventually. And I think we're gonna do like a giveaway, correct, Jeremy? Whoever we choose, maybe get some free swag. Maybe I'll answer the questions. Maybe I'll get some free swag. I don't know.
Googling doesn't count though, Cody.
Fair.
Uh-huh.
All right. Well,
All right.
I want to thank everyone again for listening. Like I say, you can follow us on Instagram at Sigma Alpha Epsilon. You can follow us on Twitter at SAE 1856. You can find us on Facebook as well if you just search Sigma Alpha Epsilon. Am I missing anything else there, Jeremy?
No. So like I said, follow all the social medias. If you have any ideas for a topic or subject or anything that you'd like to hear us talk about, send us any and all submissions to our social media accounts.
For sure. Thank you. You said it so perfectly. Well said. All right. So this has been Cody, Jeremy,
and Jeremy with TG Talk. Thanks again, everyone.
Come sing to Sigma Alpha Epsilon, Epsilon, Sigma Alpha Epsilon.